Welcome to Celtic State of Mind. I'm John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Jim Simonette and Rabin Omar. How are you doing, Rabin?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Welcome back to the Jimmy Johnstone Academy.
Oh, it's good to be back.
This is where it all began.
Good to be back home.
Nice to see you, Rabin. You're looking well.
You too, Jim.
Fantastic.
Just remind us, Jim, how many young players have come through this academy and made the grade and played senior football?
Well, there's been about 22 to 20, possibly 24 now that came through Jimmy Johnstone's Academy Charitable Trust and went to professional clubs. A lot of the boys that's went on to the professional clubs may not have made it to the first teams, but once they leave here, we've given them the platform and the pathway to get there. Once they get there, especially players like Rabin, once they get, it's down to them with the individual attitude, and there's me mentioning this attitude again, the individual attitude, the individual commitment, the individual willingness, and the individual to become a team player within the setup, whatever club that they're involved in. So we're delighted to say that round about that figure, and hopefully they're still all young lads at this particular time, so there's plenty of time for them to actually still progress in the professional game, as is the next lot of young players coming through. But it's trying times ahead, and what's going to be happening in grassroots football all the way through to professional football. So we're looking forward to everything kicking off again, and the next player that will come through Jimmy Johnstone Academy to go to whatever level they can get to.
Mm-hmm. We're looking at your age. You're only 22 years of age, and you've got 190 first team games under your belt, Rabin. Talk to us about your own background, your own upbringing.
Stripping it right back, family's Iraqi, myself, I'm Dutch born, and then moving to Scotland when I was 10, so it's been far from normal, but just trying to play as much football as I can, and eventually ended up at the Jimmy Johnstone Academy, meeting guys like Jim and guys like Marty, who Jim's mentioned before, who do things for you and who show you things that you wouldn't see otherwise, and they do things that other people just won't do for you.
Mm-hmm. You came over to Scotland at the age of 10.
Yep.
What age were you when you discovered the Jimmy Johnstone Academy?
Came over when I was 10, and I think I joined that, maybe 13, 14.
Maybe 13,
yeah.
Maybe 13, aye.
Mm-hmm.
So what other boys can you remember from that group that were coming through at the same time as yourself, Rabin?
A couple of boys who I was really close with at school, Junior, who ended up at Rangers, Aldo as well. He was one of my really close friends at school, and I think they were probably two of the best players we had at the time. Two players who definitely should have and could have went on to better things, but sometimes life gets in the way. Yeah,
circumstances in life, and of course you showed promise yourself, and that's been rewarded by moving into the senior game and playing so many games. When you come to the Jimmy Johnstone, you mentioned a couple of the guys. Junior was from Cameroon. And what you get in here is a sense of community, and yep. Jim, you'll be able to tell us how many nationalities have you had coming through the academy? Well,
again, that's ironically, it's around about the same amount that's went to professional clubs. To date, we're now up to 26 different nationalities that's actually progressed. 26 nationalities, that's played under the name of Jimmy Johnstone here at the academy.
That's remarkable. And when you think back to you coming into the fold, what was it about the Jimmy Johnstone Academy that you enjoyed?
Initially, when I came in, it was just coming in with my pals. So coming in with Aldo and Junior, and then meeting everyone, and then realising that everybody was just the exact same as my pals. Like, everyone got on so well, and it was just a real sense of togetherness about the team, and then I realised that probably comes from the people who run the club, who are there for us. I just going out with my pals, just really enjoying myself, and that comes from, we enjoyed it because of guys like Jim and Marty, who their personalities, they rubbed off so well on us that we just got on so well together, and it was just a load of fun, really. Mm-hmm. It was just really fun to be here, and we were taught things that taught other places. So the value of the values, so like family and like how your attitude and your hard work. Like when I was at teams before the Jimmy Johnstone Academy, it was just sort of all fun and games and this and that, but there wasn't really any purpose to it. But when I came here, there was a real sense of purpose, and this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, this is how you should look after yourself, this is how you look after other people. And for me, that was something new, and for me, that was when I believe I really matured.
When you come into a situation where it's well organised, you've got a good support in Jim and Marty. Jim, could you tell us a wee bit about Marty as well, just in case he's listening?
Legend.
The best guy I've ever met.
The best. A legend. Marty and I went to school together, and he in my early years, we possibly went through quite a bit in the schools, and growing up in the schools at that particular time were very territorial as well, and especially where Marty came from, where I came from. But Martin has got a way that inspires you. Marty inspires you. Marty loves you. Marty makes you feel wanted. Marty would go out his way for you. He went out his way for Rabin, and maybe when Rabin was a wee bit younger, maybe when he was coming to training, and where is he tonight? Why is he not here? We would go and find out why he wasn't at training. Marty would just do things like that. It's hard to put words on Martin.
It really is.
Martin McKenna. See, when you get to meet him, he's a magnet. He's a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
He's special.
Yep.
He's very special.
It's good to know how positive these individuals have been to so many young kids as well in the area, Rabin,
Marty was, for me, he was the first guy I ever looked at, and I thought, I actually want to really, I want to be like you. I wish I had his personality. I wish I could speak the way he spoke. It was that kind of thing when I was growing up. He was that kind of role model for me.
That's brilliant to hear the influences that you get from playing football. We spoke a wee bit last week about how football can change lives, and everybody if you think about it, within government, they've got to realise just how important football is to communities. It's not just about this big money-making enterprise, it's about changing lives as well. And when you're at a certain age, there are all these other things around about you that you can lead you astray. Right? You get to an age, you want to run about with your pals, you want to maybe drink, there's drugs flying about, all this kind of stuff. How important is it to be into football around about that time, just to keep you on the straight and narrow as well?
Especially in Scotland, it's not easy to stay focused. It's not easy to stay and really continue loving football as much as you did as a kid. And especially when you get older, you leave school and you become a little bit older. It's harder and harder to stay motivated to keep playing games, to keep finding friends who want to come to the pitch with you. That's one thing, maybe you're young, you're going to the pitch every day with your pals, and then they're the same pals who maybe do go on to do other things, who are led astray by other things, and that you see yourself like, I've not got anyone to go to the pitch with now. And then I think that has an impact, and maybe your focus kind of shifts a wee bit that way. But if you keep your interest in some way, shape or form, it doesn't have to be a massive interest, but if you keep that there, then I think you'll be all right.
It is so important, Jim. I mean, you've seen it yourself. You impart this knowledge, you bring in a good team, coaches around about you to work with the boys, and not only are you giving them a game of football, you are keeping them from all these other vices that are flying around at that age,
Oh, definitely. And we were and are still a disciplined club. And they're told, and it's explained to them, as a better way of putting it, not told, explained to them, look, stay away from drugs, stay away from drink, it's not needed. Stay away from all these things, and you'll get on in life a lot better. But something very important, what Rabin just said there, that he coming with his pals and whatever. If I can just come on a wee bit about Junior here, I'm sure, if my memory serves me correctly, a wee back there as well, and you keep me right here, Rabin. I think Junior was in the country for about 3 days, or whatever it was back then. And Rabin and him seemed to have got together, and Rabin brought him to us, and he sat at the side of the park down there and didn't want to participate. Do you remember that night? He sat there, didn't want to participate, said he had a sore head, and obviously the lad was homesick at that particular time, coming from Cameroon. Well, what a guys got round about him, and he actually played in a wee game, and we went, wow, well done, Rabin, because it was Rabin that brought Junior. So there's a story that Willie Maley brought James McGrory brought Jimmy Johnston. Jimmy Johnston brought Rabin. Rabin brought Junior, and so on and so on, and so the domino effect continues. And Junior, obviously, as documented as well before, went on to play for Rangers in the Glasgow Cup final, scored 2 magnificent goals against Celtic that night. And this is when Martin comes in. Martin took about 20 kids for Jimmy Johnston Academy, and yes, he took them into the Celtic side that night at Firhill. Yep. But Martin, we got all the tickets for all the kids. Martin and a couple of the guys took the kids to that game, and Junior scores the first goal, and all the Jimmy Johnston kids are all jumping up and down. So the young Celtic support all looking, going, what's going on? Why are they cheering because he scored? Wee Marty turns around and said, that's my boy, he's just scored.
Scoring for Rangers.
Aye, and then he scored again. Aye, all the kids going, oh, Junior again. And then he came back to training with his medal, his jersey. He gave us his jersey. He wanted to give us his medal. We told him to keep the medal, give it to his mammy. Aye, and all the kids are all running about him. And as you'll see, we'll get the photographs and all that there. Even though he was at Rangers, he still couldn't stay away. Am I right, Rabin? Mm-hmm. He still wanted to be run about his pal, Rabin there, and run about the Jimmy Johnston people, because he didn't really want to sign for Rangers. He didn't want to leave, but we pushed him. Mm-hmm. It's time for you to go. And Rangers were the club at the time who wanted him. So there you go. They're Marty, a big part of that as well.
When you're looking at that, Rabin, and you're looking at players who are playing with the Jimmy Johnston Academy, and then they are graduating into the game of football. You know, players have gone up to Celtic Park, they've gone to Rangers, they've gone elsewhere. Are you looking at that thinking, does there come a stage where you're thinking, that could be me?
I mean, it's stuff you can only dream about. I always think about it, to be fair. You know, sometimes I think if I did this, maybe I could have. If I did that, maybe I'd be there. But no, you can't really regret anything, and there's still time. And I think the opportunity's there, that I've got the time, so I do think about it as something that I do give a lot of time to think about. What
about your own path from Jimmy Johnston to the senior game? How did that come about?
It was, so when the 97s folded, I was actually playing, in a charity league. Do you know A&M Scotland? So they run like a wee charity league, and people for the different schemes play against each other, and a lot of the coaches were professionals at the time, so I was playing really well at that, and my coach was like, Partick Thistle were looking for players at under 17 level, so I went and I was there for 6 months, but nothing ever came of it. And then I phoned Jim again, and I says, Jim, I'm looking for a club, and he put me in touch with Joycey. And Joycey's another one like Marty.
Legend.
Oh, another legend. Aye. Joycey was assistant manager at Annan. Took me in, and he used to pick me up, drop me off, you know, treated me as if I was his boy. Mm-hmm. And, you know, going into Annan, the professional environment, it didn't feel any different for being with Jim. And obviously because I knew Joycey had already trained us a couple of times, and I didn't feel like I was stepping up into this new world. I felt comfortable. I was in like a sort of comfort zone that I'd already experienced, mm-hmm. obviously, with the academy. So I think that's one of the things that probably contributed to the amount of games I've played at that level, and how early on I was playing in that first team.
Jim, how satisfying is that to hear that the step from academy football to professional football was quite comfortable for Rabin.
Oh, it's very satisfying, you know, that what they're taught here, what the guys are taught here, is very, very like a professional setup. Well, we've been privileged. You've got guys like Joycey, you've got guys like Graham, other fellas that's all been run about. It doesn't matter if you've got a UEFA A licence or a UEFA B licence or whatever, which we've got all run about the club. Good coaches, good people. Good people's important, and good people help good people like Rabin. And it's very, very satisfying. And that's what we say to them here, even to the young ones just now. See if you can do the training that we give you, and you can understand the dressing room mentality that we give you. Once you go on to wherever you go to, you'll fit right in, and you'll maybe not sail it, but you'll go, hey, this maybe not just as hard as what I got back there, but it sets you on a platform, and it gives you where you should be. And I've got to say, when this young man made his debut for Annan, I was there. And that was just as important as Darnell Fisher playing for Celtic. And when we seen him playing, it's great. It's a magnificent feeling for any of them.
It's bound to be. I mean, what age were you when you made your debut, Rabin?
I was 17.
17 years of age.
Yep.
You mentioned there, Jim, about Graham Diamond, who's obviously been on the podcast, and he's come in and coached the boys here at the Jimmy Johnstone. Another guy who's been mentioned today is John Joyce.
Yes.
People who are in the game will know Joyce. People I've spoken to rate him and regard him as one of the finest youth coaches in the country. Talk to us a wee bit about Joyce.
Joyce is a dear friend. He's a very, very good guy, straight guy. Very good coach. He knows how, again, technically, how to change from an attacking game to a defensive game. And I was very privileged to be with Joyce when they played Rangers at Ibrox and beat them and beat Rangers. I was delighted and I was proud that day. No, Rangers getting beat, but Joyce being a Rangers guy. But he put his heart and soul into the Annan team that day, and they absolutely played Rangers off the park. Now, his knowledge of the game, would it be going for a 4-4-2, a 3-5-2 or a 4-5-1, whatever, an attacking formation, a defensive situation or whatever it may be. We bounce things back together for each other. He'll ask me, I'll ask him. We'll take each other's advice and we take it from there. But a cracking guy that should be in at the higher levels of football, and that is my opinion. Fantastic with youth players, pushes them for their benefit. He certainly pushed Rabin and other young players to get them where they should be at and where they can achieve. So John Joyce has does untold work at Jimmy Johnstone Academy. He does so much for us. It's fantastic. I can't praise the guy high enough, honestly. And he's here all the time. He helps with the dementia group. He's involved. It doesn't matter what team you support, but Joyce is always run about. He's always here to help. He's a local guy. And Joyce was a fantastic football player as well, and a friend of A.B. Stevie's from St. Roch's. If he's listening, he'll tell you what type of player Joyce was. Hard and fair, never shrieked to anything. He was a hardy player, a very good player.
Rabin, Jim spoke about Joyce's influence within the academy. How's he influenced you moving into the professional game?
For me, it was like when I was at the academy, what Jim was for me, and the guidance that Jim and Marty showed me. It was just a continuation of that, except at Annan. But this time there was more on the line. So there's jobs on the line, there's league titles on the line, and we're talking about professional football here. We're not talking about like youth football. So for me, it was just the same but higher stakes. And having somebody like Joyce there, who, if it doesn't matter if I was 17 or 15 or 25, you know, he was pushing you, and he certainly did that with me. He never let me take my foot off the gas, and if I took my foot off the gas, he would tell me about it. And I think that's maybe why my career at Annan did go really well, and you know, I've did things of note at Annan, and then maybe since he's left, probably have taken the foot off the gas a wee bit. But you know, guys like Joyce, they keep you on your toes, especially when you need to be.
Mm-hmm. What's your best memories of your time at Annan then?
I had a few good memories. You know, starting off obviously making my debut, the first ever time I played for Annan. Came off the bench against Berwick, played like 3 minutes, but in that 3 minutes I got volleyed up in the air, and I was like, as soon as I came
welcome
off,
to the game.
Welcome.
That's exactly what Joyce said when I came off. He was like, welcome to Scottish football, wee man, because I was only used to playing reserve games, and playing with the first team was a completely different world. And then I made my full debut and scored the first goal. Still only 17, and that was, I sometimes watch a goal back and I'm in like just utter disbelief that the ball's in the back of the net. Like, I've swung my leg at it and I've seen it hit the net, and I'm just like, I've got my hands on my head and I've got my hands down, and I just can't believe it, and everybody's come around celebrating. We got beat, but I mean, it was good to score. And then obviously the 2 goals against Hamilton, that was probably the highlight in my time at Annan.
Special.
That was like, just thinking back on how it came about, and for it to be like, it was my breakthrough year at Annan. It was when I was starting every week for the first time we play against a Premier League team. For my first experience of playing against the highest level of Scottish football, well, maybe not highest, but they're playing in the Premier League, and to be able to not only beat them, but beat them well, and scored 2 goals myself. Every time I think back, it just puts a smile on my face.
It's bound to. When you achieve something like that, Rabin, does it make you believe that you can make that step up again at some point?
Yeah, that's probably the day where I was thinking, that it's there for me. For anyone my age in League 2, League 1, or even in the Lowland League, anyone my age, it's there for you. The players that are at the top level, they're not like, it's not something that's unachievable. It's not something you can't get to. It's just something that requires more work than what you've experienced before. So it was definitely something. It was definitely an eye opener, knowing that these players they weren't they were human. They weren't superhuman. They weren't anything like that. And it was the same when we played against Rangers in the Betfred Cup a year later. We played against Rangers, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Rangers.
Who were you up against?
I was up against Lee Wallace and Barry Mackay. Oh my God.
You had them in your pocket, wee man.
Oh my God.
Both now playing down south.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember like absolutely blowing. And I'm thinking, it was the hottest day of the summer, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's got to be half time soon. And I'm thinking, no, because we usually ask a ref what time we're at. And I'm thinking, hold on, we're at Ibrox here. And I look up at the scoreboard, and honestly, like, the sweat's dripping off me. I can barely stand, and it says 5 minutes. 5 minutes played, and I was like, oh my God, another 40 minutes of this. But then playing against them, like, they obviously were a completely different class. Like, they were a class above. But then again, taking the ball, receiving the ball, and being able to run past these players, they made me realise that these guys are not superhuman as well. They're the exact same as us. They're just training every day, well conditioned, proper professionals. They're maybe probably a lot better technically, but it's not something. They're not like on a different planet to us. We're playing on the same pitch, and well, if I'm able to run past you like a couple of times, and I'm able to go up against you properly, then it's not two different worlds. We're ultimately playing the same game.
What do you think of that, Jim? Because, I mean, obviously when you're training every day, that's your livelihood, and you're getting all the sports science and the nutritional specialists and everything else. Obviously it's going to give you a wee bit of a kind of foot up, but what we've been saying is true. I mean, there's a guy here, 22-year-old, who's going toe-to-toe with guys who have played in the Premier League and down south. Aye,
well, when you played what age were you against Hamilton?
Hamilton was 18.
You're 18. What age were you against Rangers?
19.
19, right? So he's 18, 19, right? 5 minutes. I was knackered. I was knackered just watching the game, kicking every ball and doing whatever. I believe it doesn't matter if these other players have got the best equipment. They've got this, they've got that. Can have all that. See, if you've not got heart and you've not got attitude, then why have all that? Sometimes the players that's got less to work with, but got more to work with in their attitude and their willingness is far outweighs what maybe some of these professionals have got. Because where is the hunger? Where is still the commitment to their training and whatever it may be? The true professionals are always hungry, regardless. regardless of what they've got. But players like Rabin, he's correct. I went by him once, I went by him twice. There's nothing to stop you if you can buy him again. I've stopped him once, I've put that tackle in. And see, next time he goes by me, I'm going to hit him harder, or whatever it may be. And he's got that attitude. He's got it in abundance.
Now, we've spoken about some of the highlights, Rabin, and I mean, playing at Ibrox against Rangers, and obviously in front of that crowd, that would be incredible for a 19-year-old.
Incredible, yeah.
There's also the kind of darker side of football, which has been in the news recently, and quite rightly so. It's existed in British football for a generation, and that is racism in football. And I know that you have suffered that yourself directly. Could you talk to us about your experiences of racism in Scottish football?
I mean, for me, we're talking about where I come from initially, playing in Holland. It was there in Holland when I was growing up. I moved to Scotland, it was here in Scotland. Get older, it's still here. Mature a bit, learn how to deal with it. But ultimately, it's still there. One of the more notable ones, that's what had happened to me was be like suffering it on a football field where you're supposed to forget about these things, in a place where you're supposed to be able to express yourself and like you don't think about life. It's just you on a football pitch for 90 minutes, and for that to creep back into there, it was something that is tough to deal with. And then the days following that as well. The weeks and months following that, also really tough. And it's a topic that I usually don't like to speak about. It's something that when I think about it, I'm like, you've dealt with it your whole life. Just deal with it again. And I shouldn't be thinking that. So that's probably is the correct time to start speaking about it. I
mean, see, when you go home, you've went and played football. And the occasion you're talking about was well publicised because it was against Clyde. You go home, you speak to your family. I mean, what does your family say to you?
My mum was kind of on the same thing as me. She was just like, brush it off. She's like, we've dealt with it our whole life. Like, just, and then even when with the days following, she's like, if you just forgive him, this and that. And it was tough for me. It's tough, but. That's the attitude that when things like that happen, that's the attitude that we've got now because it's happened so much. But when does it stop being, we need to deal with it? And when does it start being, when is it going to stop? So.
You're right. I mean, I think back to 20 odd years ago and the message was kick racism out of football.
Yeah.
That's 25 years ago, Jim.
I know.
And we're still talking about it.
We're still, and it's sad. And when that happened to Rabin, I've got to say that I wasn't happy. But that was dealt with through the SFA as well. Very disappointed. But what Rabin he was taught at Jimmy Johnstone Academy for all aspects of life, that everybody is equal. Nobody's above anybody. Everybody's the same. Everybody's the same. Regardless of colour, creed, whatever it may be. There's no difference from anyone. Everybody's important. Every life's important. Every religion or what you believe in is important. It was important to Jimmy Johnstone. Jimmy Johnstone, the greatest Celtic player. One of his best friends is a patron. He's on the wall right behind Rabin. Wally Henderson, a true Rangers man. But those two together were amazing. Jimmy Johnstone and Wally Henderson. They didn't see any difference between anybody, and that's what young players like Rabin was taught here. And it helped him. And that's what we says to him as well. That you don't just brush these things off, because these things are wrong to be said to people, Paul. Rabin, you can't call people names. When I was younger, I used to be called a tally B. I don't want to say the word because it's wrong to even use that word. Because my father taught me that if you use that B word, one day if you meet one, it will be a sorry day. And I was grown up as well. Being called up because people thought that we were from an Italian background and whatever, which we are historically. I'm an immigrant. I'm not different from him. I'm an immigrant as well. My family were immigrants, so I come from a long line of from Irish immigrants and Italian immigrants. What makes me different from people like Rabin? There's no difference. There's no difference at all. Right? So growing up, we've all had a bit of what Rabin has had. growing up, we were called all different types of names or whatever. But everybody has got to now come to terms with that everybody is equal and everybody is treated equally here within Jimmy Johnstone Academy, and are taught that everybody's equal when they move on and wherever we go. And I'm quite sure Rabin will second me on everything that I've said there. Not one player within this organisation has been treated differently from the other because they may have white skin, they may have black skin, or whatever colour of skin. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It goes back to the message. There's only one human race. We spoke to Saul Davis from James, to increase awareness of anti-racism in football, anti-discrimination. And it's actually sad to hear that, you know, there's sometimes this attitude, oh, we've suffered it, we've just got to take it. And it's got to be the exact opposite. It's got to be dealt with, you know. And obviously the SFA were involved. I think the guy got a 5-match ban, something like that. Yep. That's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's nowhere near enough. It's a criminal act.
Yep.
And it's in football, so it's almost as if there's a protective blanket because it's in football. And you get a 5-match ban, which is nothing.
So are people out there saying as well, Paul, that I shouldn't talk to Joycey? I shouldn't deal with Joycey because maybe Joycey's a Rangers supporter and I'm a Celtic supporter, or this, or I'm Catholic, he's Protestant, or whatever, and I shouldn't. That's all wrong. All that part is wrong. Totally wrong.
100%. We're all one human race.
One human race.
That, for me, is the mantra. It must have been a great day for you and your family then, when you were called up to represent your country at under 23 level. Talk to us about that. I mean, that's an incredible achievement.
I should have probably mentioned that when you asked about the highlights, but it was one of those really unexpected ones. You know, the under 23 team in Iraq, they were preparing for a big tournament. They were looking for players, and I think a family friend had a connection with the team, and he was like, Rabin, send over your videos, send over whatever you've got, a CV, anything you've got at all of you playing. Send as many things as you've got and I'll send them on. So he sent them on, and later on I think I got a phone call on a Saturday night being like, can you be here on Monday? Can you be in Iraq on Monday to come and train with the team? And that just shows you the organisation, you know, there's zero organisation in that team or in the sort of Iraqi FA at the time. So anyway, I've booked the flight, and then so I booked the flight first and then phoned the manager second, and I says, are you alright with me going? Big opportunities came up. And he was like, yeah, just make sure the proper paperwork gets to us before you go. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm already in Iraq. I'm trying to set the paperwork. I'm already over there. I'm over there, and the manager's like, we just need the paperwork, then you're good to go. And like the training camp had already started, so I was like, I can't miss, because I think it was 10 days long. So I was like, right, I'm not missing. I'm not missing any more days. I need to go over it as soon as possible. So I'm over there and I'm sending this bit of paperwork, and then the club gets back to me and they're like, we need this now. And I send that, and the club's like, oh, we need this now. And all the way I'm over there and I'm training. But the experience itself, it was something that, you know, I'm so grateful for. You know, it's professionalism that I hadn't ever experienced before. It was, you know, wake up at this time, like this is your agenda, this is what you need to do, and if you don't do it, that's on you. Like, it was wake up at this hour, it was eat at this hour, do this, do that, and you had to go through your day, and it was just a real eye opener to see the sort of level, the level of international football over in Iraq. You know, that's the best under 23 players that they had, and I'm going in there, and you know, I'm not seeing myself as, you know, a player that's came in and who's not on their level. I'm not seeing myself as a player who's below them or intimidated by them, granted, they've got the experience. They all know each other. They're all friends, and they all speak Arabic together. I didn't speak Arabic, so I was maybe a little bit just didn't integrate well in that sense, just because I didn't speak the language, which made it a bit tougher. But ultimately, on the pitch, all you need to do is be loud. You just need to say go and point places. You understand each other on the pitch, so that wasn't a problem. But it was just realising that even these guys who they're internationals, they're not any better than me. They're maybe used to the heat.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to playing on the pitches they've got. But that's it. They're not any better on the ball than me. So it was definitely a real eye opener. It was a 10-day training camp. So it was obviously you play training games in between, but it was just waking up, training, and then doing your stuff after training and training. So it was just like training every day. And then you get a couple like training matches in between, and then he tries to kind of pick the squad based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could either play for Holland because you were born there, yeah, Iraq,
yep,
and because you were educated for so long in Scotland as well.
I think so, yeah.
So you've got a choice of three teams there.
Right.
Which one would you pick?
Good question.
The first one that will have me.
A good answer.
That's a great answer, aye. The first one that will have me.
But what an achievement. And I'm sitting here looking around, and we're in the academy, Jim, obviously, and here's a young man who's come along with his pals for a game of football. And what that's led to is being called up by his country, for a training camp. They now,
amazing.
Obviously, you're in their sights for any future possibilities and opportunities. And I've just got to take my hat off to you. I think that's incredible what you've achieved so far. You're now with Elgin City.
Yep.
How's things going there?
Things are going well. It's tough at the moment, of course, with what's going on and no football and just real uncertainty. Always tough, and it's not just tough on the players. It's really tough on the clubs as well. The clubs don't know whether they'll survive. So sometimes as players, you need to think about the bigger picture rather than yourself. But for myself, my contract's up at the end of this month. The club is still to speak to me about renewing. But obviously the club's got a million other things to think about. I've got a million other things to think about. So we'll see how it goes.
I think it's an interesting insight, though, Jim, into the life of a Scottish footballer. I mean, we look at football just now and it's when are we getting back and all that. It's a bit kind of selfish and self-centred, but the reality is you've got all these players who don't know where the next wage packet's coming from.
Absolutely.
Your contract's only up at the end of this month and you're wondering what's happening after that. Mm-hmm. The future of the clubs, I think Graham Diamond opened a few eyes last week when he was talking about the future of a lot of these clubs is in serious doubt at the moment. So, that we're in a time of uncertainty. Do you just keep yourself fit, keep training, keep yourself positive?
I try and just keep myself ticking over. During the lockdown, you've not got much else to do, so I'm trying to train every day and keep myself fit for the restart, whenever that may be. Yeah.
When we finally get back to playing football and we participate in the centenary match for St Roch's, will you represent the Jimmy Johnstone Academy?
Of course.
Oh, that's fantastic. I like that. Aye, so what's going to happen, Rabin, is for St Roch, the great St Roch's, where James McGrory played and who made he signed for Celtic out in this park here after he finished I'm sure it was a League Cup final, and so it's their 100th year, so we're going to have a Jimmy Johnstone select.
Brilliant.
And I'm glad that you say it.
I'll play.
You'll play in that.
Put him on the spot.
Oh, you did.
Are you both playing? Are you getting a bit, son?
We'll be in the dugout.
We'll be in the dugout. Do you know, Rabin, that I grew up in a place called Black Hill, as you know, which was Renera, and I always wanted to play for St Roch's.
Did you?
Aye, but I was never good enough. Growing up, and maybe I might get 2 minutes. I might get 2 minutes in a wee game.
You're not the only one. Remember, Frank McGarvey was telling us he couldn't get a game for
Frank
St Roch's.
McGarvey, aye, definitely.
And he played for Scotland against Maradona. So there you are.
Wow.
What I enjoyed with Rabin, last year, me and Marty were doing the West Highland Way, and we we gave Rabin a call, and Rabin came along, and he had never seen that part of Scotland up in the West Highland Way. And my wee finishing point here was Rabin couldn't keep up with me and Marty. He was always right behind us.
He's not wrong.
It was
I
great.
was carrying the two of them on my back.
That's right, that's right.
All that's left for Jim and I to say is thank you very much for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks very much.